Have you ever been in class, fully aware you're smart enough to ace it, but somehow you just don't? You get the material when it's explained, but never crack the book at home. You promise yourself, I'll do it later, until later is too late. Or maybe you've accepted you're just not a school person, even though a quiet voice inside knows you're meant for more. I want you to understand something. The gap between failing students and straight-A students isn't intelligence. It isn't even hard work. It comes down to a single question. This is the story of a young man named Leo, who was failing every class in his junior year until a professor asked him one question that changed everything. 2 years later, he graduated with a 3.9 GPA and a full scholarship to graduate school. Stay with me, because if you've ever felt like you're wasting your potential, this question could save your academic life. At a mid-sized state university, where thousands of students were chasing their futures, there was a 20-year-old engineering major named Leo Vance. Leo wasn't dumb. When he paid attention in class, he grasped concepts faster than most. His high school teachers had called him gifted. His test scores were in the top 10%, but by his junior year of college, Leo was failing. Not struggling failing. His pattern was the same every semester. Week 1, attend class, tell himself, this time will be different. Weeks 2 to 3, start skipping morning lectures. I'll catch up later. Weeks 4 to 8, stop attending altogether. I'll just study the textbook before exams. Weeks 9 to 12, panic. Cram the night before, fail the exam. Every semester, the same cycle. His GPA was 1.8. He was on academic probation. The university had sent 2 warning letters, improve or face suspension. His parents, who had worked overtime for years to pay his tuition, called every week. Leo, how are your classes? Good, Mom. Everything's fine. He was lying. The truth that haunted Leo wasn't that he was failing. It was that he knew he could succeed if he just tried. But he couldn't make himself try. Every morning his alarm rang at 7. Every morning he hit snooze and thought, just today, I'll catch up tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. His roommate, David, studied each night and kept a 3.5 GPA. Leo would watch him and feel a mix of shame and resentment. Must be nice to be naturally disciplined, Leo thought. Some people just have it. I don't. One November evening, Leo's phone rang. His mother. Leo, we got an email from the university. It says you're failing 3 classes. Is this true? Leo's stomach dropped. I can fix it, Mom. I just need... You've been saying that for 2 years, her voice cracked. Leo, do you know what we sacrifice? Maybe college isn't for you. Maybe you should come home and get a job. We can't keep paying for you to waste time. She hung up. Leo sat on his bed, phone in hand, his chest tight with shame. For the first time, he faced the truth. He wasn't a victim of circumstance. He was choosing this. Every day he was choosing failure. The next morning, Leo went to his professor's office hours. Professor Rivera taught engineering thermodynamics, the toughest class in the program. She was in her 50s, known for being demanding but fair. He knocked. Come in, she called. Leo entered. Professor Rivera looked up from her desk. Leo Vance, I was wondering when you'd show up. I wanted to talk about my grade, Leo stammered. You're failing, she said simply. You've attended 4 of 23 classes. You scored 23% on the midterm. She looked directly at him. So my question is, why are you here? I need to pass. If I fail, I'll be suspended. That's not what I asked. I asked why you're here in my office today. Why now? Leo felt the weight of the question. Because I can't fail anymore. My parents... Your parents? Professor Rivera leaned back. Leo, let me be direct. I've taught for 26 years. I've seen hundreds of students like you, smart, capable, lazy, and you know what they all have in common. Leo said nothing. They show up in week 11, panicking, asking for extra credit. They all have the same excuses, their parents, their stress, their circumstances, but none have the real answer. What's the real answer? Leo asked quietly. Professor Rivera stood and wrote one sentence on her whiteboard in large letters. "Do you want to be?" She turned to face him. "Not what do you want to achieve? Not what grades you need. Who do you want to be?" Leo stared at the question. "I don't understand." "Leo, you know what I see? I see a young man who has built his entire identity around being the guy who doesn't try. You don't study because if you studied and still failed, you'd have to admit you're not as smart as you think. It protects your ego." Leo's throat tightened. She was right. "But is that who you want to be?" she continued. "The smart, lazy guy? The one with potential who never uses it? Or do you want to be someone different? Someone who shows up, someone who tries, someone who fails sometimes, but never quits?" She tapped the whiteboard. "Go home. Think about that. When you have a real answer, not what sounds good but what's true, come back. Then we'll talk." That night, Leo sat at his desk with a blank page. Who do you want to be? He wrote answers and crossed them out. Someone successful. Too vague. A good son. At 1 in the morning, Leo wrote one sentence that felt true. "I want to be someone who doesn't give up on himself." He realized every time he hit snooze, he was giving up on himself. Every class he skipped, he was giving up. The smart, lazy guy was just the result of 1,000 small surrenders. He wrote a second sentence. "Starting tomorrow, I am someone who shows up." The next morning, his alarm rang at 7. Every instinct told him to hit snooze, but he remembered his answer. He got up. He went to class. He sat in the front row. After class, he told Professor Rivera, "I want to be someone who doesn't give up on himself. Someone who shows up." She smiled. "Good. Now the work begins." The rebuilding was hard. Professor Rivera told him, "You might not pass this semester, but you'll build the foundation for the next." Leo followed the plan. Week 3, he understood 30% of the lecture, but he showed up. Week 7, he understood 70% and actually enjoyed learning. Week 10, Leo scored 78% on the final. When he got his grade AC, didn't feel defeated. He felt proud. For the first time in years, he had shown up consistently. "I didn't save you," Professor Rivera told him. "You saved yourself. You lived the answer." That C in thermodynamics was the turning point. The next semester, Leo applied the same principle. Who do I want to be? Someone who shows up. 7 a.m. alarm, no negotiation. Front row, no excuses. His GPA rose to 3.4, then 3.7, then 3.8. By senior year, Leo was unrecognizable. He became a teaching assistant for the class he had nearly failed. When he applied to graduate school, his essay was about that one question. On graduation day, Leo walked across the stage with a 3.9 GPA for his final year and a full scholarship to a top-tier graduate program. His mother hugged him. "I'm so proud of you." "I'm proud of me too, Mom." Before leaving, he visited Professor Rivera one last time. "I'm going to become a professor," he said, "and I'm going to ask struggling students the same question you asked me." She smiled. "The question isn't magic, Leo. The magic is in answering it honestly, and then living that answer every single day." My friend, if you're watching this, maybe you're like Leo was smart enough, but somehow not doing it. Maybe you're scrolling instead of studying. Let me ask you, who do you want to be? Not what job you want. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who gives up on yourself, or someone who shows up? Do you want to be someone who makes excuses, or someone who takes responsibility? Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a decision you make about who you want to be. Tonight, take a piece of paper. Write, "Who do I want to be?" Write your honest answer. Then write, "Tomorrow I am someone who," and fill in that blank. And then tomorrow morning, be that person. Not forever, just tomorrow. I can't promise you straight A's, but I can promise this: if you wake up every day and choose to be someone who shows up, 1 year from now, you won't recognize the person you used to be. If this story hit you, hit that like button. Not for me, but as a promise to yourself. Drop a comment and finish this sentence. Tomorrow, I am someone who I'll reply to as many as I can. Share this with a friend who's struggling, and subscribe to Stories of Motivation for more stories of real transformation. Remember, the question isn't magic. The magic is in living the answer. Who do you want to be? Your answer will define your life. Choose wisely, then live that choice.